Uh-huh. Yep. Listen. No long drawn out intro today. You see the hat. We nationality hip hop today. And I see y'all waiting. Y'all know it's about to happen. You know it's about to be magical. So I'm not even going to talk too much. I'm just going to bring the man that I'm about to talk to on the screen right now. Introduce yourself to the people.
What's up? What's up? Dog, what's good, bro? What's up? What's up? I'm on Doggie Diamonds TV, Mike Geronimo with my brother Doggie Diamonds. I'm excited. What's up, like?
And this is a long time coming. Remember I got in contact with you through the bro, Tommy Two Face.
Yeah, facts. What's up to
And
Tom?
and and I
Yeah,
wanted to shoot Impossible video. What is impossible, right? No.
Unstoppable. You wanted to
Unstoppable. I wanted
Unstoppable.
to shoot Unstoppable
Yeah,
so bad because I'm
right.
like the biggest Pete Rock fan ever. And not do you realize what he flipped to do that beat for you?
I know he used Marvin Gaye.
Yeah, because you had
He
to clear
used
it, right?
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember from what soundtrack. I want to say it was from the Trouble Man soundtrack, but I could be wrong.
Indeed. So when I heard how he flipped that, I was like, yo, I wonder if Mike really know what he's rapping to right now. This beat is crazy. How did you pick that Pete Rock beat?
Yo, it's bug, bro, cause like me, I love Marvin Gaye. Like Marvin Gaye is one of my all-time uh inspirations, artists that I adore. So once I heard the way he did the beginning, I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And did that laugh that Pete do, and he just played it, and then he started fucking around a little more on the SP or whatever, and we just knew. It's funny too, because I just spoke to Pete maybe 2, 3 days ago, because we getting ready to go back in the lab for the project I'm doing now. So shout out my brother Pete Rock. But it was a no-brainer, bro. The minute that he did the beat, like, you know, with Pete, it don't take no time. With Pete, you could hear that first bar and you just like,
You
whoa.
watched him do the beat?
Now I went to his crib,
Okay.
and when I went to his crib, you know, he's fucking around. We was vibing. He was fucking with records. He was doing different things or whatever. I think if memory serves me correct, I didn't actually hear Unstoppable until after that. I think we went in the studio and he had played it for me when we went in the lab.
Mm.
And when I heard it, I was just like, whoa. But I was just so tripped. I was just tripping so hard off the fact that I finally got to work with Pete. You know what I mean? Because I knew Pete since I was like 15, 16 years old.
Oh wow. See, the audience wouldn't even know that you personally knew Pete Rock.
Yeah, because I met him through Large Professor. Shout
Mm.
out to Professor, but Large used to live right next door to me as a kid. So like the first person I ever knew coming out my crib, you know, your mama ask you who you outside with. You know what I mean?
I'm
So if I
outside with Paul. Yeah.
I'm with Paulie and I'm with JJ, shout out, you know, from Lost Boys and shit, you know, J Raff. So J
Right.
Raff and Paul, they was like the first two big bros that I had in life. You understand what I'm saying? So I actually got to meet Pete and like Gangstar and Buster and leaders of the new school and Tribe Called Quest. All these people would come to Large Crib, you know. So some of them I knew, just being, you know, just being a young gun and being at his crib.
So was you always rapping back then?
Kind of was, but I wasn't, bro, because really all of it started just going to Paul's crib. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Because my man Van, shout out to Van, my man Van that, you know, lived around the neighborhood with us too. We would all be at Large Crib, and initially I DJ'd. That's
Mm.
how I started with shit. So like nigga, I go to Hot Watts every day and go get
Wow. Shout out to damn, what's my man name?
side.
Kid Nice too.
Yeah,
Kid Nice.
yeah,
Cause I knew them from Hot Watch, cause that's how I
yeah,
met Monch and Prince Poe and them.
yeah.
They DJ.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Hot Watch was like the hub for people who don't know, like in
That was
Queens.
y'all Queens Beach Street. Like Beach Street
Fact,
record was for us in Brooklyn. That was y'all
fact.
Queens Beach Street. Yep.
That was like rock and soul or whatever in Queens.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I would just go there every day after school and be getting 12-inch records. And then, Large at his crib, he had the turntable. So when I wasn't in my crib DJing, I'd go to his crib and fuck around or whatever. But just being around that element, that environment of all those people that spit, I go niggas to smoke and be joking, and I start saying a couple of bars, and they would just so happen to click.
Mm.
And the more I did it, like my man Van would be like, yo, you should stop playing. Him and my brother, they'd be like, yo, stop playing, like, rhyme like you want to rhyme, or because you could if you wanted to, and then I just would gradually start doing it, and I would get complimented more and more that I practiced, and the next thing I knew, I just started doing it, bro. But my first love was DJing. That's how I got, yeah.
So what type
Yeah.
of DJ, because that's my first love too. What type of DJ was you? A blend DJ, trick DJ, or what was you?
You see, just you saying
I'm a
that,
DJ. I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ.
exactly, because
Yeah.
you know the breakdowns
There's
of
different types of DJs.
Yeah. Right. So for me, from what I'm told from my brother and my cousins, because we all had a squad, I was like blend master in my crew.
Got you.
Like I love taking this record and matching it with the drums on this record here, and then I would get better at cutting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cause I wanted to be like cut master, but everybody ain't built for everything, so you find out what kind of DJ you are as you go through. But I was blend game. I love that, bro. I miss that to this day.
So it's funny because you sound just like me, man. I'm like, yo, when I finally get set up and I get the space right, I'm getting some Technique 12. I have to. I need my studio here. I need my DJ set up here. I need all of that because it's a certain zone that it puts you in. Who's your favorite DJ? Let's say your favorite blend DJ.
Oh, that's hard, bro. That would be between Dog Time and Dirty Harry.
Wow, you said Dirty Harry. I thought you was Queens. I thought you would have said DJ Hot Day. I ain't gonna lie. I thought you would have said Hot Day.
Now, Hot Day was ill. Don't get me wrong, but what Dog Time was the way that Dog Time would take like 3 records at once. Like back, you know how that was back then. That was
tough.
crazy.
It was tough.
Yeah, nobody was thinking to do that back then. You know what I mean? So I love the way that he would take, and I love the way that Dog Time would take records. Not Dog Time, Dirty Harry, rather. Dirty Harry would take records that you didn't really expect anyone to put together. And that would and the way Dirty Harry did his tapes, it kind of wasn't like a lot of talking involved. Because remember, you had to have your Anna. Your echo game. That's what I would call it. You do your shout outs, your echoes, but he ain't talk so much. He just let the blend tape speak for itself. And Dog Time I just love because he would do the quintessential Queens mixtapes. Like, you would hear Gap Band, We Gonna Make It All Right. You would hear Outstanding. You would hear Rising to the Top and Mary blended with something, or Alexander O'Neal blend. I know you know where I'm coming from. You know what I mean?
Facts.
So he had like,
because you could either Alexander O'Neal, you could be talking about Fake. You could even be talking about Saturday Love.
Right, Saturday Love or
Fake, yeah. Criticize. You could go anywhere with Alexander O'Neal, yeah.
Yo, kid, I love you, man.
Yeah. You know, I know this music thing.
You know what I mean? So, but he was good at that. So those two used to always resonate with me. And then there was Clark Kent and Kid Capri. I idolized them.
Yeah. See me being Brooklyn, that's where my Brooklyn bias coming from. When you say Clark, so who was your favorite scratching DJ with the cuts? Let me give you 2 different categories. Who's your favorite scratching DJ on record?
Okay.
And then who's your favorite scratching DJ performing? On
record, my favorite scratching DJ is DJ Scratch.
Okay. Like, I'm you from the borough.
Yes, sir. Like the shit he did with the PMD records at the end, like the
Rampage.
Rampage, how we went nuts at the end of Rampage, like, and people don't understand that's harder to do because he only has X amount of time and he has to do those cuts perfectly in that window of time because it's just like an instrument in a song.
Yes.
So I, to this day, Scratch is amazing to me at that. And then I think just on some like I'm a DJ. It's in my blood. This is what I do. Rock Raider, rest in
Oh
peace.
yeah,
Rock.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know it's funny
Rock.
because Rock
He did cuts
don't get
on
spoke. He did what?
he did the cuts on the Master IC record. I did the I'm So High record at the end of the record.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Rock.
And
Buck
it's funny
Wild.
because Rob Swift was Akinelli DJ.
Yeah. And
Wow.
all of the executioners,
Executioners, yes, yes.
like that whole squad, bro. I tried to get as many tapes, and at that time it was VHS, so I used to get as many tapes as I could and come home and I'd rewind the shit and try and watch how their hands was on the fader and on the record when they was pulling the record back. Like, so I would try to really study them, but that crew was amazing to me, bro.
You know
Amazing.
what? My favorite scratch. Well, I think one of my favorite scratches on the record is DJ Premier Ex Girl to the Next Girl. The girls look so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So,
Next, the girl crazy. Even
yeah,
take it personal.
yeah, it Take It Personal was
Yeah,
crazy.
Premier. Yeah, see, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So you know, and you know, a lot of people didn't know that that's strictly for the ladies. The cuts are strictly for the ladies. Lord Finesse, that's Premier.
yeah, I had no idea that
Yeah,
was.
listen to the cuts. Now listen to the girl step up to this. Listen to
Yeah,
the cuts. That's Primo.
I'm playing this show. I'm like, yeah,
That's
go.
Primo. That's Primo. That's
Shout out to
Primo.
Primo,
Yeah,
bro.
back then.
Yo, we
Okay.
came up in an amazing era, bro.
See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, you know, I'm mid 40s. So when people be like, "Yo, you old," I be like, "Yo, but you don't know what I saw. I saw some great things, man. And I was able to be in the room with it. See, there's a difference between seeing it and actually being able to see it
Yeah, with your
firsthand.
eyes, yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Firsthand. So if you grew up with Large, you grew up with somebody from the Lost Boys, how the hell you end up with Irv?
What happened is, because I went to Bayside High School,
Okay.
and one of my friends in Bayside High School was a DJ named Chucky Madness. Shout out to Chucky Madness. And Chuck was like big in Queens, like on some DJ shit. For oddly enough, since we talking about that, he took like the Mario Brothers from the Nintendo shit and
Mm-hmm.
hooked to his mixer, and he did this mix with like the song from Mario Brothers and like Catch the Beat or something, whatever.
Mm.
He was a known DJ in Queens, and we went to school together. And one day I just ended up spitting in the lunchroom, and like the whole lunchroom dug it.
Mm.
And Chuck heard me spitting, so he would tell you, be like, "Yo, come to my crib. I live in Hollis. I want to cut some shit up and record you." So I would go to his crib, and that's where I met like DJ Sage and like Rockweiler and all of them.
Mm.
Which oddly enough, they would all be at Hot Wires to make everything
Facts.
make
Yep.
sense. So I would go to Chuck crib and just spit while he would cut records up. And then one day, the nigga had put me in a talent show on it and tell me,
Mm.
you know what I mean? It's just like, yo, I got something for us to do. It's on 109 in Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. Now, you already know back in the day, 109 in Liverpool, you already was setting yourself up for something because you didn't really want to be in that area. You
Mm-hmm.
feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's hot out there. But I did the talent show, and I remember, bro, like a couple people went on before me, and they was throwing records at niggas. They throwing bottles on stage and shit. And I was standing there like, damn, like, oh, okay, I didn't know it was all this shit. So I so I started rhyming. And I remember when I finished rhyming, bro, you could hear like a pin drop in the auditorium. And I'm like standing on stage. Chuck is like this on the turntable with the headphones on. And we just hear somebody in the crowd like, yo, little nigga, you got another song? And I'm like, yeah, I do. Okay.
Okay.
So we did good, and he starts cutting something else up. So then Irv walked up like after we finished, but by the time I finished and got off stage and shit, I'm running around the spot, hobnobbing and shit. I'm smacked by the time the nigga Irv come up to me,
Mm-hmm.
like high, drunk, whatever. So the nigga Gotti was like, yo, blah, 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 got a studio. I heard you spit, da, 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 da. And I just blacked out and started rhyming in this nigga's ear. Like I just I started rhyming, and the nigga did the Irv laugh, like the smile and the laugh. And he's like, yo, why don't you come to this studio? I want to see if if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't got to do it. But just as we was getting ready to, like, I guess, like cement that through discussion, like they started shooting the spot up. So it scatter, whatever, what have you. And we caught up a couple days later, and he was like, yo, again, he's like, he at the studio. And I told him I never recorded before. And I finally went, and it wasn't even really a studio. It was this dude named Steve Kulo. Shout out to Steve. And he had a small company called Diner Dog, and he did commercial jingles on like a 8-track or like a ADAT or some shit like that in the crib.
It probably wasn't an ADAT back then. That probably was like a Tascam 688.
Yo, you ain't that. Yo, you on point, bro.
I'm gonna let you know. Yeah.
I saw the Tascam shit, like it's so.
It could have been Tascam 688 or 488, one of the two.
So he had the Tascam, and the Papa Stopper was like a hanger, a coat hanger with pantyhose covering.
Yeah, yep, with a nylon stocking cap, basically. It was a stocking cap. Yeah. Yep.
The first thing that we ever did was Shit's Real. That was the very song we ever did.
So who did the beat for that? Cause I'm gonna be real with you. The Denise Williams, I could never catch. I was always trying to sample that, but I never couldn't catch the end because the drums coming dun 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 got to. So I was like, yo, how they caught that? I could never figure out.
That's shit. That's Irv, bro.
Wow.
Because now here's what I came to find out down the road, which makes everything make sense. Follow me. So apparently Chuck had told Irv, he's like, yo, you should use this with Mike. And I think he played him the Denise Williams shit.
Wow.
And I think Irv was the one who was like, because Irv was more versed in making beats. So Irv was the one who was like, yo, right. You know how Irv do, like, yo. So Irv chefed it up. So I believe that Chuck is the one who introduced the idea to him. And then Irv was the one who actually went and made it happen and put it together.
Because if I'm not mistaken, that's Free with Hydra drums from Grover Washington Jr. Yeah, those are Hydra drums, definitely Hydra. Yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, they use Hydra, because the only people who ever used Hydra at this particular point was EPMD. You know what I'm saying? They use Hydra. You know what I'm saying? And then Hydra is the same beat for Buckshot and them use it, and even
Black Moon and them.
Yeah, how many MCs is Hydra? And no, the first person I think to use it, I'm wrong. It might have been EPMD and Granddaddy IU's. Granddaddy IU used Hydra too.
Yeah.
For the U is smooth. Yeah. So when I heard them drums, I was like, damn, they use Hydra. You know what I'm saying? So I remember being in the crib and I heard this song come on. So when I hear Free, that was on them tapes. That was on them Kid Capri tapes. That was on them tapes that we love. So when I hear you rhyming to this, I'm like, yo, who this? So I hear Mike Geronimo. I'm like, Mike Geronimo? What the fuck is Mike Geronimo? How you get the name Mike Geronimo? Because I couldn't, I really thought you was going to be like a Native American with long hair. So when I heard the name, because when I think of Geronimo, I think of a Native American. You know what I'm saying? So how did you get the name Mike Geronimo?
That's funny too, cause like in school, my man Fudd, shout out to Fudd, my man Fudd, whenever I would get caught up, like the deans be looking for me, or like, the security dudes or whatever, they'd be like, he'd just be like, oh, Geronimo in the lunchroom, laugh, or he would say it on the back of the bus or whatever. And that just stuck with me. And then my first name was Mike, and then I just sat there one day and I was like, well, what if I don't spell it M-I-K-E? What if I spelled it M-I-C? And like, can you rhyme anyway? And one of the first songs I wrote was called Mike Geronimo. Wow. Like after with the name. With the song that we did at the talent show that Irv came to, the song was called Mike Geronimo.
Wow. Yeah, that's dope.
And I remember at one point, Irv had asked me the same shit. He's like, yo, how you came up with that name? And I was like, I told him, And I said, yeah, but I'm thinking about changing that shit. And he's like,
Yeah,
nah.
that rang a bell off the muscle. Yeah, that was it.
Like, nah. And it's funny because I didn't think of it in that way at that time. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like when I did come up with it, I was just like on some like quick, like this is for the time being till I get like a cool name
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Rock Hip.
yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it just all happened and it stuck and I ran with it, bro. And that's pretty much how it all came about, you know?
So you basically when this record hit, I remember um it came on Video Music Box. And that, once you come on Video Music Box, that's why when people say, who is your inspiration? I always say Ralph. Because people don't
Uncle Ralph.
understand. When you came
Yeah.
on Video Music Box, you made it. You made it.
Oh yeah.
You was lit. Like,
What?
yeah, your
Yeah.
life was, you made it. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
made it. You made it. So when I saw you on there, and it's funny because that's Irv right next to you when
Mhm.
you in the bedroom scene and you on the bed rapping, he all extra and all that. So years later, I was like, yo, that was the kid. That's Irv Gotti and Mike Jerome, because we didn't know who he was. We just knew he was DJ Irv after a while. So
Right.
you basically you blew up. How did you get the record deal though?
Um really again I give that all to Herb because we recorded Shit's Real and I remember like he was telling me like labels was interested in all of this stuff and
Mm,
I'm mad naive at that point, bro. I'm like 17, 18. So, all I want at that point every day, yo, just give me weed and I'm good. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? So I'm just busy smoking and concentrating on rhymes. And he's like, yo, this label wants us and this label, but yo, they ain't moving fast enough. And he wanted to press Shit's Real up on his own, and he's like, "Yo, fuck that, I'm gonna press it up." And I was like, "But how are you gonna do that?" And he's like, "Yo, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out." And he did.
Mm.
And actually, I think he pressed up like a very small number. It may have been anywhere from I want to say at the minimum 500, at
Yeah,
maximum
because it
maybe
was 100 bucks. Yep,
right. It may
100
have been.
boxes. Yep.
It was Black Label, 12 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And after he did it, bro, we went to every nightclub. We went to he went to Hot 97. He would sleep literally outside of Hot 97 until he would see like Flex walk in or Ed Lover or whoever. We went up to Kiss. We went up to
BLS.
BLS. Ron G was at BLS at that
Okay.
time. So wherever niggas was and they was moving, we'd make it a point to go.
Mm.
I mean, and either he would go poly and talk to people, or he would give me the record and the sticker, and he'd be like, "Yo, go to like, like I remember when I gave Flex the record. I think we was at the Palladium or some shit, and I would tell everybody the same thing, bro. I would just be like, "Yo, this is my song. This is my record. My name Mike Geronimo. If you don't know me, well." Here's my joint. If you like it, play. If you like it, rep it. If you don't, you could break it over your knee and you never hear
Mm.
from it. And
Wow.
I literally would say that to everybody. And the next thing I know, Search was like calling my crib, and I remember Fat Joe called my crib and shit. Like people just started calling my house out of nowhere.
Because back in the days, we didn't have beepers, we didn't have cell phones. The crib phone was everything.
It's everything. That was it. Like if you ain't, bro.
Yep.
If you wasn't home for a certain amount
Yep.
of time. You had to hope like whoever was there was like, oh yeah, such and such call.
Yep.
But I was just bugging off the fact that I was like, yo, how is everybody getting my phone number?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any of these people in that Irv would call me, be like, yo, nigga, we on, it's popping right now, blah, blah, blah. Yo. And then he was like, yo, we gonna do a video, watch. And I was like, all right. And he went and got Hype. Shout out to Hype Williams.
Hype that
And
is so that's Hype Williams' first video?
yeah, Hype Williams shot Shit's Real. And he shot it on a camera, bro, that was like no bigger than this, my nigga. That shit looked like a little box like this, bro. his man Iggy, or I think it was either Iggy or Izzy, one of the two. I can't remember his full name, but he had this little ass camera, and Hype was just like, "Yo, come out the store, but throw the Dutch gut, set the camera like that." And I was like,
Classic, yeah,
"Yeah."
classic,
And
classic.
so we did the video. We had Baby J crib. Shout out to Baby J, because Baby J was my DJ at the time.
Mm.
So Baby J, we was at his crib, and he cutting the records up. Niggas went and got the heat. All that shit. Put the pump in the corner, all that crazy shit. And we did the video. And then once Video Music Box played it, like you said, once Uncle Ralph decided to play it, it's like everything just took off like a rocket ship.
You lit.
Yeah, and the rest was history, bro. And it was kind of like, at that point, we was in a three-way, they would call it like a bidding war. And Wild Pitch was interested.
Was that Search trying to bring you over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Search. So Search was very interested. Steve Rifkin was very interested over
What
at
label? He had Loud at the time?
Yeah, but this, mind you, bro, it was so early on.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah.
This was like the genesis of Loud.
Okay.
And he just, in particular, he was like, "Yo, we're doing this shit called Loud." And
I'm about to say, yeah, because I'm like, I don't remember when you came out. It wasn't no Loud records.
No, this was before Pun and everybody even got to Loud.
Wu-Tang Mob, yeah.
All of them. And he was very interested, and then there was this new label named TVT.
Whoa.
And,
yo,
right.
you know what's wild? Because Steve Rifkin Pops owns Spring Records.
I never knew that. I just recently found out.
I told you that in the clubhouse.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, I told you that in the clubhouse. My memory is my memory is different. Yeah, my memory is very different. So Millie Jackson and all of them, they were signing Steve Rifkin Pops.
That's crazy. You know why? Because I always remember that Millie Jackson album when I was a kid.
I had to say it. That was the name of the song. I had to say it.
I had to say it.
She was sitting on the toilet.
Facts.
Yeah, yeah.
And my uncles, my aunts, my mama, when it would come on, they'd be like, "All right, you got to leave the room."
Yeah.
That's all I remember about that. But that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
So TVT, why did you go with TVT? Because they offered the most money or the opportunity? What was it? Because you got Wild Pitch, was a reputable label at the time. Somebody you grew up with is over there.
Right.
Main Source is over there.
And OC was over there.
OC is over there.
Right.
Was Power Rule over there?
I think for a short span of time they were there. I think for maybe
nobody know who Power Rule is, but that's some Queen shit. Because you
remember Power Rule in it.
But again,
spoke to Axe like a month ago.
Tell them, yo, those are my dudes. I gotta find them. But see, look, this is hip hop history. Like what we doing right now, everybody can't have these conversations, and that's why they don't, because they don't know the culture. But Power Rule was I think Power Rule was over there, if I'm not mistaken, too.
I think they was, but what happened with Wild Pitch, ironically, was we had a meeting with them one day, and we went up to Wild Pitch, and when we got there, I'm not gonna put everybody's shit out there, but one of the groups on Wild Pitch, the manager of the group was like at the office, and they had gotten into some big drama. I mean, to the point like somebody pulled a butcher knife out and all this shit, and police come flying into the label, and me and the nigga Gotti just stayed there like, oh. And I never forget like Stu Fon's face, the president of Wild. They just were like mortified because they had called us up there to come to this meeting that day, and when we get there, we see all this crazy shit happening. So I think at that point they kind of knew like we was gonna be like, nah, we good, bro.
Yeah.
So then what it was with TVT, Irv had sat down with Steve Gottlieb initially, and he was telling me that he felt good about him and all of this stuff, and he was like, yo, Mike, you gotta understand, if you go there, you're gonna be the first artist on a brand new hip hop label. So you're gonna have the keys to you're gonna be on the throne. Like, it's going to be whatever you want because you're going to be the first thing they ever put out. And again, I emphasize, reiterate, I'm still, I'm still like, it's all moving so fast that I'm not even digesting all of
What's
this
really
shit.
going on? Yeah.
Right. Well, I was just selling fucking crack like a year ago. I don't know this shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yo,
Yeah, I'm here.
yeah. So, yeah, froze. My bad.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But that's and he felt good about them. And then I remember when I sat with Steve Gottlieb at TVT, just me and him, and we spoke. It was a good meeting,
Mm-hmm.
and like I felt like he was a nice dude. I felt like what he was saying he meant.
Okay.
I felt that, I believed in him the minute that I sat with him, and we clicked, and we had a good bond the minute we met. And so I just left the meeting feeling like I really like those people. And Irv was like, yeah, that's cool. I think that's what we should go with. And Search must have found out because I remember Search called my crib and he was like, yo, I know you like that Lex that Keith Murray has. And I was like, yeah, I love that shit. He's like, yo, come up here right now. I'm gonna give you that Lexus and I got like 14,000, 15,000 in cash for you right now. So I was like, what? And it's funny because my moms could hear him talking. Like, my mom's is busy ear hustling.
Mm-hmm.
While this nigga's talking to me. So I hang up. And my mom's eyes is all big. And she's like, Michael, you should go get, like, you should go.
Go get that whip and go get that bread.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then, so it's funny how shit worked because Irv called me immediately. I don't even know how he knew. He called me and he was like, yo, I think he was calling me about something else. And I told him that Serge called me.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him what Serge said. And he was like, yo, don't go nowhere without me. He's like, don't answer the phone. Don't do nothing. If anyone calls you, just call me or tell them, call me. Or he's like, but don't do nothing. And I said, all right, cool. And I just, like, once he said that, I was good. Like, the funny part, I didn't even think about going up to pitch to go get the shit.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
really believe that things could happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't do that anyway because I was like, me and Irv was doing what we was doing together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I remember Serge tried hard to get me to like change my mind, but ultimately I felt so good about TVT. I felt good that Irv felt good about TVT. And I felt good that they felt good about us.
Yeah. So you the first artist. Was Blunt created because of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Yeah.
TVT was I'm trying to think of what type of label they was before they
They
started hip
had
hop.
9 Inch Nails at the time. They had
Facts.
Reznor.
Facts.
They dealt more with alternative rock. Like they had 9 Inch Nails, they had Seven Dust, they had Avenged Sevenfold. They had all of these like acts that,
What was that
we
called?
would,
Grunge back then? I think that's called
yeah,
like grunge. Yeah.
exactly. It was like grunge and it was right at that stage where like Nirvana kind of was in limbo because Kurt
Kurt
Cobain
Cobain.
died and right, but Trent Reznor was from that family tree.
Mm.
So they were doing well with that. And the other thing that made them successful was Steve Gottlieb owned the rights to any television.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he owned a lot of the television jingles.
Yeah, from
Yes. All in the
from
Family. Yep. Yeah, he owned a lot of that. Yep.
the Family, the
Yep.
Jeffersons, the Simpsons, Facts of Life, like any show you could think of. TVT owned the rights to, and they were licensing those songs for commercials and movies and what have you. So he was very, very successful because he would run around and he would acquire these 60s and 70s tracks and then he would license them out.
Mm.
So that's so rap became their next, I guess, Mount Everest, figuratively speaking. That's what they wanted to conquer next. And we were the first step to that.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. So what was that check like? Because you offering 14 over here in a car. Did you get a big budget from them?
we had a very unique situation, bro, because we had an open budget.
Wow.
And I mean, while it was unsaid, they pretty much were like, whatever you need. But they kind of, it was funny because they didn't know hip hop at all. So
Mm-hmm.
they had gotten all of these people and built up this staff. And, you know, Steve pretty much put his faith in all of these people. And then when Irv came along, I think Steve started to realize that Irv just naturally had an ability to navigate the landscape of hip hop. Like he
Mm-hmm.
knew what you needed to do. He knew the people you needed to do it with. And so Steve would rely a great deal on what Irv thought and what Irv thought needed to be implemented.
Mm.
And even to some degree, they would ask me, like, you know, what do you think we should do X, Y, and Z here, there, there. And we're just kids. You
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm saying? Like, we know what we know, but that's all that we know.
Mm-hmm.
But they pretty much gave us like an open budget to do whatever. And in the beginning, it was kind of a, not so much checks and balances, but they kind of would do it like a little at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because they were of the opinion of, okay, we don't just want to throw a bank vault at this.
Mm-hmm.
So they would kind of do things here and there. Hang on one second. Jojo, relax.
Jojo,
So
you tripping right now, bro.
right now, you
Yeah,
see?
yeah, yeah.
Doggy said,
How
chill
you
out.
gonna be in the interview? You like, yo, let me give me some of that camera time. Jojo, what you doing, man?
Break out, kick rock. Keep going.
It's time to build, Jojo. No pun intended. So
So they gave us like they opened the vault for us, bro.
Mm.
And then after a while, once they started to realize, like, because they were working under the alternative music playbook.
Mm.
And it's very funny because alternative is the polar opposite of hip hop.
Yes.
So in alternative music, you can come from a rich family, but the idea is to look like you have nothing at all.
Yes.
In
Yep.
hip hop, it's the polar opposite.
You could be a bum, but you gotta act like you got it.
You gotta act like you got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So once they figured that out, and then mind you, another driving factor was, you know, you had the Bad Boys and you had the Louds and you had the Def Jams, and they were seeing how these people would spare no expense at trying to market and promote their product.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of knew you had to do what Romans do when you're in Rome.
Yeah, do like the Romans, yeah.
Yeah, and they just was like, yo, go for what you know, bro.
So they signed you for an album? Was it, because I remember at one point you used to get single deals, and then you might get an option if the single does well.
Yeah.
Is that what you got at first?
No.
You got straight up album.
Straight album, and it wasn't just
albums or one album?
Albums, plural.
How many?
I believe it was 3.
Because I know back then they used to sign people to like 10 albums. They used to be wilding back then.
Yeah, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think initially it was 3, and then there was like some sort of an option.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So somehow it could end up being like 6 if they, because they'll sign you for 3, then they'll pick you up, and or they'll say we're gonna open a budget. They could store you out for like 2 years. There's a lot of politics back then.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was for 3.
Okay. What was the publishing like back then? Did you know anything about publishing?
No, and this is like, that's why I said I was like in La La Land. I did not know the mechanics and the intricacies of the music business. Like, no one had ever explained any of that shit to me. You know what I mean? So what I do recall is my management at the time telling me that it was standard practice for labels to take a certain percentage of your publishing.
Was your management down with the label?
Yeah, right.
They or they wasn't?
They wasn't.
I was about to say, because that's a conflict of interest, but
my management actually at the time was my cousin. Shout out my cousin George and shit.
Yeah.
So, but
you had that nigga management, you know. But go ahead.
Now that I'm older and in hindsight, I get what he meant. It was standard for labels to try to take at least 25% of your publishing.
But they paid you for it. They ain't take it. You got
Right.
paid for it.
No, they did. And they did. TBT
Okay.
gave me an advance on my publishing,
Okay.
like percentage that they had. What I did do was they didn't get all of it, but for
Okay.
what we got, I was given an advance for it.
Got you.
And
Okay.
again, at that time, I didn't understand the significance of
Your
publishing.
pub.
Yeah, I knew nothing at the time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, in hindsight, it's always 2020.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, what people don't get is your publishing is how you're going to eat off of your music for the rest of your
It's your
days. And
it's your 401k.
it's your, okay, yo, you ain't never lie. That is the greatest way to put it.
It's your
That's the
401k.
put it, dog. It's your for it is your nest egg. It's your
Mm-hmm.
retirement, and they swoop in early to get it because they're pretty much trying to add you to your catalog to everyone else's catalog so that they can in the end be able to license your music off at will.
But
Um,
think about it though. You're dealing with a particular label that knows all about licensing and publishing. So of course they're gonna say, "Let me get some of that."
duh,
Cause yeah,
right?
yeah.
You would think that would have been like ding ding ding, but again,
You
I'm not
young.
even
Yeah,
in that.
you're a baby.
I'm a baby.
Yeah.
I'm like completely naive. I'm completely oblivious to all the mechanics of, like, I had no idea what publishing was. I didn't know what mechanical royalties were. I didn't know what the 50 writers and 50 production and composition, and there's all these things that
Sample
once you
clearance and all this. You're like, what y'all talking about?
clearance, recoupable.
Recoup.
This
Yeah.
was the first
Yep.
time I ever heard this term, and I'm like, well, what's that? You
Mm-hmm.
know, so there's all these things that I didn't know. All I knew was, okay, last week I didn't have a deal, and this week I do.
Yeah.
Now what?
You do this. Do you get a pub deal at any time?
No,
You never got a publishing deal
no, nope.
till this day.
To this day.
Whoa. So
To this-
do you have your publishing though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, smart man. So what you got 75 or you got more? You got
No, I have more. I
you
mean,
got more.
for the first two albums on TVT, I have 75%. So for the
Oh.
Natural and for Vendetta, I have 75.
Oh.
Anything after that, they don't have any dibs on.
Okay. Let me get $5. But
Right.
so yeah, right. Okay, so you sign this album, you putting this album together.
Uh-huh.
Shit is real is out there, is bubbling. What's your next step into putting this album together? Is it straight Irv's call on everything, or you just straight up invested in Irv and whatever he's going? So Irv is essentially becomes your A&R.
He was everything at that
Okay,
time.
okay.
Herb was the A&R, the coach, the trainer, the everything.
The hype
Because
man, yeah, the DJ, yeah.
DJ, everything, because Irv knew the game. I didn't know the game.
Okay,
You understand what I'm saying? So, and at that point, you know, me and Irv was cool. So I'm like, pretty much whatever he says, I'm cool with.
okay,
The teaching didn't start until right before I had to sign my agreement.
mm.
And the first thing that happened was, I think we didn't see kind of eye to eye on the producers that I wanted to use for the album.
So what producers you wanted?
I was more inclined to, like, cause you gotta understand, bro, the sound that I dug at that time.
You want an Illmatic.
Yeah, you said it. You said
You want
it.
an Illmatic.
I'm not
Everybody
gonna
wanted
say that,
Illmatic.
but everybody wanted.
Yeah, Reasonable Doubt is Illmatic. Yeah,
Right. Everybody wanted Premiere.
Pete,
I knew I didn't have to worry about Large
Large.
because
Mm-hmm.
Large was there. So I knew, I was like, yo, okay, I know Large is there. I knew Pete was there. I met Buck Wild, and I was like,
That's my
okay.
brother.
And Buck did Welcome to the he did Ozone.
Oh,
C's album.
yeah.
And I loved that song.
Step into the ozone.
Step to the Ozone. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do we begin? Oh, fuck
Yes,
it, the win.
that's my brother. Shout out to OC, my brother.
Yeah, that's my bro. And then
Yeah.
So I wanted to go more in that direction. I liked what Pete was doing. I liked what Large was doing. I loved what Premier was doing. That's the sound that I came up on.
You was trying to 90s boom bap this at
Right.
that era. You was trying to fit right in what was going on. Okay.
And bro, that's what we play. Like when I go to Large Crib or whatever, that's what we vibe it out to. That's what we lounge to. You feel me? So I wanted that. Irv's vision was a little different. So he kept trying to, like, I think he wanted to get me, like, he wanted me to do songs with like Tupac and more West Coast sounding shit and more gangster sounding shit. And like, that wasn't my vibe. I mean, so that was like the first clash. And then I remember he had came to my crib and there was this whole thing going on between him and my manager at the time about me signing an agreement with Irv. And I remember my manager telling me, he was like, look, if you sign something with Irv, then he gets what he gets from the label and he can give you whatever he chooses from his production company.
So he was trying to sign you to a production deal. He didn't want you to sign a TVT.
No, he didn't want.
Yeah, because that's what happens. He's actually the artist,
Right.
and then he PCs you, but
Right.
they give him the budget to put stuff together. They give him the budget, and then he do your record. It's a pro and con. The pro is if he say, yo, we out, he could step and take you anywhere.
Right.
The con is he get the budget. he get all the money. Yeah.
And mind you, again, I'm just a kid. I don't know no better. And, you know, like my cousin is telling me this is this and you shouldn't do that because that's not good, because what happens when he decides to only give you X, Y, and Z or give you nothing at all?
Yeah, because he don't have to give you nothing with a production.
Yeah, and this is the first time. Right. This was like my first taste of shit I don't like in the industry.
Industry politics.
Right.
Yes.
And this is the very first time that I'm experiencing this, and I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, so my parents and everyone advising me at that time were like, yo, don't do that. I know this is your friend. I know y'all are doing X, Y, and Z, but you're going to learn quick that you have to, there's going to always be people trying to, you know, take advantage, or
you have no friends.
Right, you don't have it. And that was their way of trying to explain that to me, but I kind of didn't want to believe that.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the business. Now we're talking money.
Right.
Checks, cut, all it's different. Signatures is different.
It's way different. And I'm still not fully overstanding, but I'm getting the gist of it. And I remember that we went somewhere and we was at my crib and Irv was there and we ate. My mom's had made us some food and stuff, and we went downstairs to his car and he starts talking to me about the deal, and he's like, yo, why you letting people come between us and X, Y, Z? And I thought this was odd. I'm telling her, I'm like, yo, I'm not letting anyone come between us. And it's funny because even though my parents and my management at the time was advising me not to sign with Top Dog,
still was going to do it.
I was still gonna do it. But we're in the car, and I remember the bro said to me, he was like, see, I should have just made you sign the agreement, like niggas told me. And I was like, whoa. Right, facts. See the same face you doing.
Yeah. You're like, what? Yeah.
Side, bro. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't visible, but when he said that, I'm like sitting there like, is that fucked up to say? Yeah, that is fucked up to say. And wait, you must have me completely fucked up. Because first off, you just told me you should have made me, and you can't make me do nothing. Second of all, you just said it was it fucked me up, bro.
Yeah.
And all I remember saying to myself was, if this is what he's saying to you now, then what happens when something major happens? What is he going to say to you then?
And who's these people telling him, make that dude? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, and who is that? And And mind you, bro, on the other side of shit, like I felt disrespected because I'm like, yo, this nigga must think that just because I live in Bayside or whatever, like, you know, and I'm not one of these niggas around him, like,
I'm a herb, yeah, because we was I think we were saying herb back then. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
like this nigga must think I'm like some bird ass nigga or
Yep.
whatever. But every day I'm with you, you want some other shit. So I don't know where none of this is coming from. Whatever, it didn't sit well with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking, and I'm like, not to mention, nigga, you just ate a plate of food my mom's cooked. She ain't
Wow.
had to do all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if we cool, we cool. If we brothers, we brother. If we everything else on some other shit, then make that shit known out the gate. But don't blur the lines. And once he said that, I couldn't get past that shit.
Mm.
And so I didn't sign the agreement but with him, but he still had a lot of say so over the album.
Yes.
And both made sure that he still had a lot of say so. So between the fact that that had completely rubbed me the wrong way and made me look at it in a different light or look at him rather in a different light, and between the fact that I knew creatively he didn't really see things in the same way that I saw it,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign with him. I signed with TVT, but he still had a very big amount of say so in terms of how many songs someone did, what the direction was of the
He
album.
was your A&R.
Fact.
He was your A&R. So what how did he eat off the situation?
He ate because eventually TVT had hired him to be an A&R.
What I say, he
So,
was your A&R. Yeah.
come on, dog.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
you belong on like Law and Order, man.
Yeah,
You in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. And he deserved it because he was a good
yeah,
facilitator.
he
Good
did.
facilitator. Good.
He did. He did. Look, I can't. If you're gonna call a spade, the man was remarkable at being able to see the weather 20 days ahead of where he is, and he's ingenious in terms of strategy.
Mm.
And he understood exactly what needed to happen. And I mean down to like Irv would do out the box shit. He would think outside the paradigm where he would be like, yo, I'm giving shit's real on tape to all the drug dealer niggas, all the hustling niggas that's
Mm-hmm.
riding around. You know why I'm right? I'm like, why? He'd be like, cause when the little niggas see these niggas playing they shit out of their car, they gonna ask what song that is. You know why? Cause it's that person playing.
Mm.
Watch. And he would do shit like
Yeah.
that. And people
Genius.
think that way.
Genius. Mm-hmm.
Right. And he
Genius.
would think that way. So he has a remarkable ability to look at something and see 1,000 moves ahead
Mm-hmm.
in order to make it go exactly where it should go.
Yeah. So my thing is, you're doing the album now, and
Hmm.
then there's this song called "Time to Build." How the
Hmm.
hell did that song come out? Did you know these dudes?
The only one that I knew when we did Time to Build, well, no, I had met, I think I met Hove before that. And I think I did meet everybody before that. But out of everyone on the record, me and Rule were together the most. Cause you know, we was with Irv like every day.
Mm-hmm.
Rule and Cash Money Click would come to my sessions. Like we was all a unit, you
Yes.
know. So we all fuck with each other all the time. Even on the weekends, I would just go to Rule's crib and go crash at his crib and go chill in Woodhull. You know what
Mm.
I mean? That's
Mm-hmm.
how tight we all got. So when we did Time to Build, while Irv found me, he also had what I didn't know is he also had his hands in other things. So he knew Hov and him for years.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was going on the road. I think at one point he was Hov's DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know that with D and Y and them, Rough Riders, I know he knew them and X too.
Mm.
So he kind of now that I look at it, I'm like he kind of always had a master plan of all right, first it's gonna be Mike.
Nigga was ill.
Yeah, he was ill. So I just remember him playing a beat for Time to Build, bro. And he played it for me, and I was like, I just was hooked off the Rakim
Kim,
and
yeah,
shit.
you were about to say, you was like, oh, Rakim? It's
Oh,
a
it's Rakim.
go.
I was like,
It's a
what?
go. Yep.
It's time to build. This
Yep.
time to build. I was like, that's crazy. So I laid my verse, and then I think maybe like a couple days later, I think Rule laid his shit after, and then when X laid his verse and Hove laid his verse, we wasn't there.
Oh,
So I
wow.
think they might have came at separate times. And what I didn't know was that X was going at Hove in his verse, and Hove was going at X in his verse.
Wow. Hip
Yeah,
hop
and
history right here.
so when Irv told me, he's like, "Yo," he's like, "Pete, they shooting at each other, right?" And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yo, Pete, listen to what he said." So I listen to Jay-Z shit, and I hear the like, you don't know what an ass whipping feels like. I'm giving some shit. He said some wild shit. Since the J to the Abe is smoother than jazz tracks, yeah, the shit is rough. And he says some crazy shit, and I'm like, oh, he's poking this nigga. And then I listen to DMX verse, and he's like, I did too much dirt to turn back now. I'm the reason my little sister smokes crack now. I feel guilty. I had a heart, but I don't. And then he says some shit like, peeling them like oranges, hitting them in the head with 2x4s and shit. I'm a grind. And he's going that hole
Mm.
immediately. So when Irv told me that, I was like, wow, that's kind of hectic, because these niggas said some mad disrespectful
Yeah.
shit.
And at this time, even though he's Cash Money Click, Ja Rule is
uh,
virtually a nobody. Like
yeah,
he
Rule was still, he was still like developing what they was, because people don't know, Rule was part of CMC. Like they was supposed to
facts,
come out
yeah.
as a
Yeah.
group.
Mm-hmm.
So him
Out
and
for the Fortune was they joint.
Facts. Him, O, and Chris Black, they was constantly tweaking their shit, but Rule always was working on songs on his own.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So I remember, like, me and Rule would spit for days, bro. Like, just have fun spitting, like, yo, okay. And he would tell me, he'd be like, yo, Mike, I got this shit called 52 Pickup. Yo, Mike, I got this other shit called. Man, it's funny because some of the songs he mentioned, I remember when Vinny Vitavici first came out, I was like, oh shit, that's
Yeah,
the shit
that's
he
the
used.
record. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Will was still kind of figuring out, you know, what and how in
But
terms
but
of
but at, but at this time, did you know that this is the original formation of Murder Inc. on your song?
no,
Because remember, he wanted them three to be Murder Inc. They were supposed to be a
right,
group.
right. But we didn't look at it that way. We
Mm.
just looked at it like we all fuck with each other. And I think what his strategy was Mike is gonna be the anchor, and
Yeah.
from Mike we can pull everybody else up.
Because at that time, you had more of a you know Jay Z. I'm from Brooklyn, so we always knew who he was. I had
Mhm.
no idea who DMX was. The only DMX I knew was Just Ice and DMX and Davy
Yeah,
DMX. I didn't
yeah, yeah.
DMX was a beatbox, so I was like
And that's
Just Ice.
funny because when he first said DMX,
Yeah,
that's what I thought he meant
yeah,
until I met him.
yeah. I'm like, yo, Just Ice beatbox is rapping
Yeah,
now. I'm confused. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And so I didn't understand. I didn't know who DMX was, and I didn't know who Ja Rule was. I was like, but I knew who Jay Z was again because
right,
I'm from the town, and I knew who you was. So,
right.
so when this happens, who had the best verse on the song?
I think to me, it's so hard to call it between X and Hov, bro, because X shit is just brutal.
Mm.
Like, how you gonna say I'm the reason my little sister smokes crack now, bro? Like, bro, that's not legal on so many fronts, my
Yeah, that's
nigga.
not right. That's not right.
So how you gonna say that? And then, but the nigga Hov, I'm trying to remember the exact way he said he said some shit like, go ahead, like you don't know what an ass whipping feels like. I'm giving splashbacks. The way he said it, I was just like, yo, this
Mm.
nigga highly disrespectful, but he's super intelligent. And I knew of Hov because I knew he did the song with original flavor. He did the
Can I
Can
get
I
open?
Get
Yep.
joint. But he didn't sound that way on a record.
Yes.
It completely different style of rhyme.
Yes.
Then I get open shit. So this was the first time,
He laid back.
right, that I
He
heard
laid
him
back.
in a delivery that, and now it's funny because I'll think about it and I'll be like, well, this was his first introduction into the new delivery.
Yep. That's what. But see, this is when I interviewed Chris. I don't know if you've seen it.
Hmm.
Um, and
I
I
just
was
spoke
saying,
to him like 2 days
yeah,
ago.
that's
Shout,
that's my dude. Shout out to
yeah.
him and Dex Diamond. What I didn't understand about Chris, what I was getting Chris to tell the world, like, this was really that record was really the foundation of
Hmm.
these dudes' career in a different way, because this is the first time Jay-Z and DMX is on a song, and then this kid named Ja Rule who ended up being as big as them at one point. You understand what I'm saying? And the most ironic thing about it, you was the spearhead to what we was gonna see the future to be. But the most ironic thing about it, you wasn't a part of the future.
Right.
How
And
did how did that happen? Because when the first time you heard Murder Inc.
oh man, I'm trying to remember. I can't, you know what's funny, dog? Like I'm trying to remember the exact moment that I even heard the name. And I can't remember. I want to say it more than likely was maybe right before Veni Vidi Vici came out.
Mm,
Like here's what people don't like. I didn't even know that Rule was signed to Def Jam.
wow.
Like I knew none of that because it got to a point where, how do I explain it? Well, all of us, it was deeper than music. You feel
Mm-hmm.
me? Like, these the parts. Like I know you know where I don't even have to say everything. I know you already know. So
Mm-hmm.
we was all under the same umbrella of of people.
Yeah, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like the big homie
About
took
to say the big homie. Yeah,
the big homie shout out. That's
yeah.
like another dad to me in life on some real shit. So the big homie was kind of like, it might have been tension, but the big homie and the rest of those people that's part of that umbrella, they would keep it together. You understand what I'm saying? And I think everybody started to feel the tension grow a little more between me and Irv, but Big Homie really, really was fighting to get us to get through the tension. But then it just got to a point where Irv wasn't telling me shit, bro.
As far as
Like
what?
like anything, like
Mm,
anything. Like I didn't know that Rule was working on an album. I didn't know. I knew he worked for Def Jam. He had told me that part, but it was just weird because it felt like once he got to Def Jam and he got his feet planted there, like he was just trying to gracefully be like, "I fuck you."
mm,
You understand what I'm saying? Like, and you didn't sign this agreement anyway, so you'll fuck you, bro.
mm,
But I have to keep using you because you are the anchor.
mm.
If I don't use you, I gotta use you till I get to this point. Once I get everything else established, then I could be like, yo, fuck you, kiss my ass. And it kind of went that way.
Mm.
The only thing that kept it from fully going to, I fuck you, you go your way, I go mine. It was the big homie in
With
me.
Preem, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's because like when it came to me, like they genuinely had true love for me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
With like, yo, Mike is like, to them, I think they would look at me and they'd be like, yo, you're like the best parts of us.
Mm,
And you not caught up in this other shit and we just want you to win.
mm,
You understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
And so and everybody saw a bigger picture. And then, ruling them is remaining neutral because nobody wants to get involved in what feels like a divorce. You understand what I'm saying? So, and I'm quite sure Gotti was probably like, yo, don't go, you don't have to tell nobody this, that, or the third. But Rule would tell me shit like, yo, this is the song I'm putting out with Blood. Bro, I didn't even know this nigga was going platinum until we went to the party at the tunnel when he got his platinum plat. So I don't know any of this. And at the time, shout out BJ, because BJ was my manager at that time.
Wow.
BJ that yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
y'all know BJ is. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
BJ is managing me.
BJ was in over there. Yeah.
Exactly. So now it's all crazy because even if you wanted to make that sever that tie with me, you really couldn't because BJ is still managing me. Big homie is still like, yo, trying to, keep things together on that part because he's like, yo, you can't do that to Mike. And, it just seemed like once Holmes got the Def Jam and shit took off over there, like his ego kicked in more. And that just made it harder for me to be a part of shit. So it eventually just got to the point where I would stop coming around and I would just concentrating on my own thing. And if I heard from niggas, I did. If I didn't, I didn't. You feel me? And it just eroded from there, bro.
So it just come a point where y'all just don't talk no more. Did he? Obviously he left TVT to go to Def Jam.
Yeah, he at one point actually he was still coming. Yo, at one point the nigga was still getting checks from TVT, but going to Def Jam.
Wow.
And I remember being at TVT like, yo, isn't this nigga like the head A&R up here? Like, what are you doing? Because he's not here. He's at Vary.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Yep.
And if this is what you telling me you're relying on to make, and at that time, it was so much going on at one time, my nigga.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like you in a rocket ship and you start to see the side panels peeling off and you start to see, or you're re-entering in the atmosphere and the ship is breaking apart and you know it, but you just strapped in the chair like, all right, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. And it was like that.
But by this time, what album were you on?
At this time, I was just commencing doing Vendetta.
Okay.
And we hadn't fully been like this, but you could feel it in the air between us. It was not the same.
So he's not even picking the producers no more. He's not coming to the studio no more. Nothing.
He didn't really until, well, we did another song. We did Life and Lesson. And I remember that was like around the time that Pac died. And he gave me that beat. And that was, I loved the beat because he sampled Stop On By Rufus and Shaka Khan. And it was dope. And he played it for me. And I was like, yeah. And so we still was, we still was on our Batman and Robin shit at that point. But again, I would notice that as shit was growing at Def Jam, it was becoming more. And now I'm starting to hear about this thing called Murder Inc. And now, and there's no way I'm not going to hear, because like I said, BJ manages me. Everything connected to Big Homie. I still fuck with rolling them, like when we do shows and shit, or when we bump into each other. I would go up to Def Jam and hang with niggas and shit. You know what I mean? So now I'm starting to find out what's going on. I'm seeing Chris moving around crazy, and next thing I know, and then ironically enough, my cousin Rev ended up getting signed to Murder Inc. as one of their producers.
Wow.
So now I really
know everything. Yeah, you in the know.
So now it's really more complicated because now my family's a producer for Murder Inc. My management is tied to Murder Inc. Time to Build is time to Murder Inc. So the whole world thinks that I'm Murder Inc., not knowing that
you ain't even know.
Fact.
So he brings Jay-Z there to Def Jam. He brings DMX to Def Jam.
He actually brought them to TVT first, and Steve Gottlieb declined like a fool. So he brought DMX, he brought Jay-Z, and I think Snoop came to TVT. And TVT declined on all three of those artists, and Ja Rule.
But they took the Cash Money click though.
Right. They took Cash Money click,
But they didn't believe in Ja Rule as a soloist.
There you go.
Got you. So, just jumping real quick. So your relationship with TVT, did it end when they brought Little John in?
No, I left right before they got Little John because
Okay.
my at the time, shout out to Brian Leach, Polo Grounds, what's up, bro? Brian Leach was like, I was his first project at TVT.
Mm.
And then when I left TVT, that's when they ended up bringing in Little John and I think the East
Side Boys, yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, save the
And
label.
right, and then with Snoop, they had the actual East Siders from the West Coast. They had Go Local.
So they reached back and got Snoop somehow. And you know what was so deep? So when did Flush come into the picture?
Pretty much like when I got up there, because Flush was performing with me.
Okay.
Because we grew up together, and then I remember, we linked up. And I was doing a show at this spot. I think it was called the Melting Pot, if I'm not mistaken.
I remember that, yeah.
But we did a show, and me and Flush was there, and it was crazy because I didn't have a hype man at the time. Like Irv would do that shit. But then at night, I was like, yo, as I knew Flush rapped, and I was like, yo, bro, why don't you on stage with me, blah, blah, blah. And we ain't think about it. We just did some natural, organic shit, and it worked out great. And the minute we did that, we clicked. So Flush with me, like right after I signed my deal with TVT. Like he was there when we started going into the studio to do the songs with like Buck Wild and everything. And we ended up doing I'm So High, Master IC with Buck Wild. And that's what enabled me to go to TVT and say, yo, you should give him a deal because he had. And it was a bit of, pushing them to try to see what I saw. But eventually they came around, and then he signed his deal with them, and it was perfect because.
And Easy LP laced them, Ice Down Medallions. And this is Nori on the chorus. Nori, if you listening, I told you, get back doing them choruses. I keep telling Nori you was a monster on them choruses. So did you A&R Flush Project?
Not really. We didn't look at it that way. Like we might have helped each other, like in the sense of we just was on some regular bro shit. Like so, I might have a session in Flush. There was no session I didn't do that Flush wasn't in with.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
So how did Ice Down Medallions come about? Was you around for that?
No, because when he was doing that, I think I was either on the road or I was working on. It was either doing movie shit or going overseas, one of the two. But I believe, and he could tell it more accurately than me. Like Flush, when he started his project, he pretty much knew what he wanted to do.
Gotcha.
And he had relationships with the producers because he had already worked with me on Natural. So he knew Buck and he knew Easy LP and he knew, and then Flush, who don't Flush know, bro?
Yeah. Flush is like one of the mayors of Queens and shit like that.
Exactly. So Flush is plugged into that whole Queensbridge
and then
side.
Capone is his cousin.
And Capone is his cousin. Exactly. Shout out Pone. So for him, it was nothing to pull these people together, where for the average person or any other artist, they'd had to go through a whole bunch of extremities to get these people to do something. Flush knew niggas. And that's what I was trying to tell TVT initially when they were kind of not hesitant, but they weren't all in initially on signing him. And I was like, you don't understand. He knows everybody else in the world, and he gets busy.
Yes.
So once he came, and Brian was there as A&R TVT, Brian and Flush pretty much just moved on their own and put that shit together.
Dope. Did you get a finder's fee?
Nah, I ain't asked for none of that.
Yeah, because dudes be like, yo, because finder's fees was 5 racks back then. Like, yo.
Exactly, but this is my point, Doggy, and this is why I say, like with me, bro, I never gave a fuck about none of that shit, bro. I
Mm.
just saw it like if you my nigga and there's a lane that I could open up, and if that lane means that I could pull my niggas in, I don't be giving a fuck about getting no finder's fee or none of that shit, bro. And some people may look at that and be like, yeah, well, you's a jackass because you know, you should be looking. I didn't look at it that way. I was just happy that he got a deal.
Mm.
Like with Flush, I didn't want him to sign a no production deal. I didn't want no distribution. I didn't want any of his publishing. I wanted him to be able to eat
Yeah, because
doing
that
what,
was your man. Yeah.
because that's my family. I love
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And therein lies the difference with how niggas may think about it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yo, you know what's ill because at this particular time, you a star. Like
I put,
you, like you a star. Like everybody in the town knows Mike Geronimo. They know Jay-Z. They know Mike Geronimo. It ain't no club you can't get in the city.
mm-hmm.
It ain't no feature you can't get now. It ain't no producer you can't get. I remember one time you was putting together you was doing an interview and you was like, yo, I want the person who did Fades Them All for Jamal. I want the person that produced that. You remember that interview you did? You was like, yo,
I remember I love Fatal More.
but did you not realize that was Rockwilder?
No.
Rockwilder did Fades Them All. You didn't know that?
I did not know
And I'm
that,
like,
bro.
because when you said that, and then earlier you said, yeah, I knew Rockwilder from Hot Wax and all. I'm like,
No.
Rockwilder did Fades Them All. You
No,
didn't know that?
I heard of Rockwaller and I knew Dana. The
Yeah,
person
Dana.
I
Yeah,
knew.
yeah.
So if you would have said to me, yo, Dana from Hot Wires, I'd have been like, yeah, that's my nigga. That's my man.
That's who did
I didn't
Fades Them
know who
All.
Rockwaller was. I
Mm.
heard the name, but I didn't know Dana was Rockwaller.
Yeah, that's who did Fades Them All for Jamal.
Yo, you an ill nigga, because, yo, what I tell you, I love that
Yeah,
record,
because I
bro.
remember you kept saying you was doing interviews like, yo, whoever did that beat for Fades Them All by Jamal, I need that producer. And I'm like, that's Rockwilder.
Dog, you my hero, bro, because
Word.
your memory definitely like a fucking
Yeah, I
elephant.
remember everything. But see, look, this is why you on here, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
You made more than one record I love. You understand what I'm saying? And I remember like how I am about this culture. Yo, all you gotta do was one. You could kick 4 bars that I love, and I could if I could pinpoint that time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's what music used to do for us. We remember what haircut we had. We remember what girl we was messing with. We
Yeah,
remember what
yeah,
school you was at. You remember who you was fighting, who you had beef with. So
yeah.
I remember where I was at when all your music came out. So you a
That's
part of
lit.
my life. You know what I'm saying? You a part of my life. So so it what the world probably always wanted to know
Mm-hmm.
why you never was on Def Jam. Why wasn't you ever brought to Def Jam?
With me, bro, it would have, first of all, legally, it would have been a nightmare
Mm,
because TVT was so, I was so entrenched in their system and they had their claws so deep into me that I think from the side of legality, it would have been a nightmare. Don't get me wrong. Like, I had some of the best days of my life at Def Jam.
mm-hmm,
And I know that I felt like I wanted to be there, and I know that they wanted me there.
mm.
You know, and they would always tell me that when I came up there and stuff. And
Who's there at the time? You going up there?
Leah,
Mm-hmm.
Todd Moskowitz,
Wow. Who goes on to another label? Go ahead.
Kevin Lyles,
Mm-hmm.
Mike Kaza.
Wow.
Um,
All of them is in
I'm
Def Jam at one time?
yeah, I'm trying to
Wow.
remember everybody that was in the building. I remember when Bimmy got there. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out to Bill. Irv was there. Um, Ed Lover's sister was the girl in the front. So I think it was Sonia.
Okay.
Def was ill. Def Jam was just crazy at that time, bro.
Mm,
But
mm.
it was a, like how they say now, it's a vibe. That was the first It's a Vibe that was the original It's a Vibe was Def Jam at that time.
Because all them people went on to do
Oh
mad stuff and controlling the industry to this day.
yeah. But at that time, bro, it's crazy because this is when them niggas was moving like the Avengers, my nigga. Like, this is when everybody at Def Jam was like, yo, we not only gonna kill the streets, we gonna own the street, and we gonna make sure that we own the street. And it was dope because you had Bad Boy, and you had Def Jam, and you have Loud, and you had these three powers that were kind of always in the forefront. But Def Jam was just, it was just a special thing. It was
So,
special, but for me,
hmm
it would have legally been a nightmare.
so
And
why
then
wasn't you? But why wasn't you ever on Jay-Z songs or DMX songs? Because you get the alley oop too. Why wasn't you ever on their projects?
yo, I couldn't answer that. I could speculate about it. I mean, I think honestly put, I think that Irv kind of had a lot to do with what I did and didn't do.
Mm.
You feel me? And it is what it is, bro. But I don't really have the answer for that. You would have to ask those people that. I can't answer for them.
Because Time to Build Part 2 only makes sense because them three went on to do a few songs together.
Yeah,
Minus
yeah.
you.
Minus me, yeah.
Trying to make them a group and everything. But I was like, damn, Mike.
And we did things together like people don't like, nigga, I'm on Great Depression. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on a hidden track on the Great Depression.
Wow.
Me and X actually did Shit Still Real. We did like the second part of Shit's Real. And they actually, funny story, they wanted to use it for Training Day, for the movie Training Day. Like, and Antoine Fuqua, the director, was telling us, he's like, yo, I did this movie called Training Day, and Denzel's supposed to win an Oscar, and I'm telling you, there's going to be this scene where I have Snoop in a wheelchair, and I want the song right there. And I think it was a lot of, I think that the campaign against me at a certain point, it did its damage.
Did you
You know,
get? Do you feel like you got blackballed at a particular time?
I always felt that way, but I never had real confirmation. Like, people don't understand, like, a lot of that energy on Drink Champs was because that was like my first real
Interview.
outside verification.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time anybody has said to me outright, like, no, I know for a fact that this is what happened, and I'm telling you because I was there. And that was the first time I had ever had my suspicions confirmed.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, I definitely think it was a couple of people that didn't want me around. You know,
Yeah, on Drink Champs, you did let out a lot, and you got not well because I put in the title emotional. I ain't want nobody to think you was on some bitch ass shit, but you did. You know what I'm saying? You did. You was emotional. What made you get to that point on Drink Champs where you couldn't hold it no more? Your emotions came out.
yo, it's bug, dog. You know why? Cause I just deducted now, bro. It must have been God's plan to just, yo, you gonna go to this show and you just gonna talk with no filter. You're gonna be unadulterated.
No
You
pun
gonna
intended.
right. No pun intended.
See how the universe work?
That's crazy, but
Yeah.
it must have just been that way. You know what I mean? And my intent wasn't, because it was one of the biggest reservations I had about doing Drink Champs, and people
Mm.
don't understand. They was asking me to do that show for a while, bro, like over 2 years, over 3 years, and
Mm.
every time I would be, asked to do it, I would politely decline to do it because I didn't want to be in a scenario where, all right, you get me drunk and I start spilling beans on all sorts of shit, and I don't want to do that. I'm not into that shit. You know what I mean? But it's funny how things work because after we did it, I said to myself, maybe it was therapy that you didn't realize you needed. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe the way that you could cleanse yourself or let go or was to vent in the way that you vented.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and let's face it, we had a couple of drinks, and at a certain point, I got smacked,
You
and we
got hit. Yeah, you was hit, and it's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah.
like, nigga, you gonna be you starving yourself drunk, So what I did keep in mind though is, because there's so much that I didn't say, which actually, when I looked at it in hindsight, I was like, wow. if you said everything you did say and you was a little bit bent, then it's crazy that you didn't say X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
You know what And that's another thing with me. Like, we from a different era, dog. We from a different time. We from a different code. So me personally, I'm not with it to be talking about everything under the motherfucking sun with people. Cause some shit ain't for everybody. Everybody ain't for everything. You feel me?
Do you
So,
feel like? But do you feel like you spared some people? You spared some people because you could have really you could really tell the truth about a
mm-hmm,
lot of situations that you don't. Why don't you do that? Because we're in the era where
mm-hmm.
Mike, let it go. But you still do you feel like you're
Right.
still sparing
I,
people?
I feel, yo, you know what's funny? Like, I have one scenario in my mind right now. When we get off,
You gonna bear
and I
with me?
know you got telekinesis, so I hear you in my
Mm-hmm.
brain right now. I
Mm-hmm.
know you know exactly where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
But boom, my thing is this, bro. Everything that glitters is not gold. And what I mean by that is, I know we live in a time where everything is it moves at light speed. And I know we live in a time where everything is likes and followers and clicks and streams and numbers, and in order to get those things, sex sells and violent wins and controversy, and I get all that shit. You can only be the person you are.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So to me, I just feel as though there's certain things that I'm never gonna talk about,
Mm.
you know, on camera. There's certain things there's certain people's the times, places, events. I'm never gonna know. You could ask me a million times, and it's
You're never gonna. Yeah. Yeah.
oh, bro.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And I only do that because I know at the end of the day, the first person I wake up to, aside from my wife, is me. The last
You
person
gotta live with you.
I gotta live with myself. You understand what I'm saying? And if I feel like I'm compromising my oath or my pledge or my integrity, then that makes it harder for me to live with myself. And I'm not with that shit. And there's no
So
money.
why do you? But why do you think? All right, we could speculate that Irv, because he wasn't moving with you,
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to see you succeed after a while because he don't got nothing to do with it. So essentially, in my opinion, Ja Rule becomes you in
Yeah.
the sense of Ja Rule becomes you. He was groomed to be Irv's new go-to guy to make these hit records with that he once did you.
Mm-hmm.
You're out the picture. He's in on Jay-Z projects. He's in on DMX project. But it was other people outside of him that had reservations for you and feeling a way about you. Why do you think that is?
Why do I feel hold on, bro.
Yeah,
Hold on
yeah.
one second. Somebody's trying to call me and shouldn't be. Um,
Why do you think
repeat the
so many
question.
people, why do you think so many people, you know, as you started finding out later on, was feeling a way about Mike
In what way?
in the
Like,
industry?
feel,
Like they just didn't want to see you win after a while. I was just like, yo, pff, Mike, whatever. You know, because like I'm saying, being that
you
you're
know what I think? I
go
think
ahead.
the industry, bro, is very. There's two types of people in the industry, in my opinion. I can't speak for the whole world. There's people who march to their own drum, and there's people that march to someone else's drum.
Mm.
And um, yo, I'm sorry, bro. I just got a text that they just took this nigga off life support.
Wow. DMX?
Yeah.
Damn.
Uh, um,
Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's give a quick, moment of silence for X, man.
uh, yo, I'm sorry, bro. I just lost my whole
Yeah, yeah, Mike, let's
um. I'm trying to remember the question. Hold on a second. Hold
yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Like wow.
So there's people that march to their own drum. I think I was saying, and there's people that 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 march to someone else's drum. And I think that yo, I'm sorry, son.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying, Mike. Let's build later on, bro. Let's continue another day. This is I'm a little overwhelmed right now. I gotta go. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And I know you gotta go. But you know, bro, I love you, man. Thank you for always being you. Thank you for always being 1000 with me. Um, let's build later on. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Let's build later on. Yeah, because I know your phone about to go crazy. My phone about to go crazy and stuff. So I'm gonna close you out, Mike. We'll continue later on, in another couple of days. Because I want to talk about what you got going on now and some of the stuff that you're working on and stuff like that. But
yeah.
shout out to Ali for putting this together. You know what I'm saying? We got to shout her out. And yeah, Mike, let's play. Yo, everybody play. Go find time to build and play that. Run them numbers up. You know what I'm saying? Run them numbers up. That's the perfect tribute right now. You know what I'm saying? But Mike, yeah, yo, it's kind of hectic right now, bro.
Yeah, yo,
Just
I'm a, I'm gonna call you like when
yeah,
we.
just collect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Cause yeah, just collect yourself and we'll build later on.
All right, I got you. I
Yep.
got
All
you.
right. Yep. Peace.
One, I love you, bro.
Yes, love you too, Mike. All right, y'all, man. Damn. Uh, damn. Like, wow. Mid interview, rest in peace to condolences to his family, condolences to everybody who love him, everybody who care about him, his children, first and foremost, his wife and his children. Um, I'm not gonna be selfish, and act like, I had a great relationship or whatever the case may be, but that man had a relationship with X. A lot of people had a relationship with DMX, and like he said, he just got a text in the middle of the interview that uh they just took him off life support. So yeah, if y'all could, man, get these likes up. I want this video to go viral. I want people to see this video. People like Mike Geronimo really did a lot in our culture, did a lot for the culture, and look how they try to bury you, and damn. Yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed what we gave y'all. We will continue later on. I'll bring him back. And thank y'all for being on here with me. And we all got the news together as a family. So we just gotta just all stick together. You know what I'm saying? Stick together, and for the love of this culture, we have to do better and, really, really look out for one another. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. So yeah, I'm about to go vibe out. I know, like I said, I know my phone is gonna ring like crazy, but yo, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. And again, could we in this chat right now, could we get a X for DMX? Could everybody put X in the chat for DMX? You know what I'm saying? Let's put an X up. Let's put an X for DMX. Damn. You know, I don't even know what to say really, and I talk for a living, but I don't know what to say. But could we get an X for X? Let's see the chat with them X's. You know what I'm saying? Let's show the everybody who gonna watch this on the playback how much we support it. You know what I'm saying? And how much we support it. So get them X's up in there. You know what I'm saying? For DMX. And yeah, hip hop. We lost a great artist. But the dope thing about music is that he lives forever via his music. You know what I'm saying? And yo, I don't know. So yeah, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. I'ma sign off now. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody who hit the like. I appreciate everybody who sent donations, cash apps. I'm gonna make sure Mike Geronimo is the first pinned comment. So if you're not following Mike Geronimo on social media, make sure you go follow Mike Geronimo, support him. We're gonna talk about the new music he coming, and go play that Time to Build, because I'm about to play that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. It is what it is, man. Doggy Diamonds. I'm just gonna sign out, y'all. I'm not even gonna do, nothing crazy. I'm just gonna sign out. So yeah, thank y'all, man. I'll build with y'all. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm supposed to actually interview uh ironically, I'm supposed to interview Irv Gotti tomorrow, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Seriously, it was already set up. So it is what it is, man. Thank y'all for joining me. I'm out of here. Peace, y'all.